Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Doctor's Diary. I am your host, Dr. Smita Orke, and I have with me my guest for today, Dr. Rajendra Bhatia.
Namaskar.
Dr. Rajendra Bhatia, welcome to you on behalf of Doctor's Diary.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let us start right from the beginning. Uh, Dr. Rajendra Bhatia, we would like to know about your journey.
Yes, I did my schooling at Bhusawal, then passed my SSC in 78, and then went to Mumbai for my college, and I joined Wilson College. Thereafter, I joined Grant Medical College, and from there I passed my MBBS and MD, and worked around in Mumbai for about a year, and then came back to my native place, which is Dharangaon. And then I
Okay.
started my work over here. I waited in Dharangaon for a few days and joined one general practitioner as a consultant in his hospital at Chopra. That was back in 1991, 15th August 1991. That was the exact date actually. So I
Okay.
started working here in Chopra.
Okay, so from Dharangaon you came to Mumbai and went back to Chopra.
Yes.
Generally, people who do their post-graduation from Mumbai never go back to their native place. Mumbai holds you back. How did
Yeah.
you manage to go back to Chopra?
Mumbai really holds us. And though I am out of Mumbai, Mumbai is never out of me. I still
Mumbai
remain a
goes.
Mumbaiite to the core. But then I didn't have the resources to start a nursing home or buy a home in Mumbai. So I said I'll go back to my place. And I had my parents, family over here. So I came
Okay.
back. But then still I had some problems. So I joined a nursing home, which was already existing and practicing. So as a consultant and started as working as a gynecologist over there. That is how landed in Chopra.
Okay. How many nursing homes were there at that time?
Hardly 3 nursing homes were there in Chopra at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I was the first gynecologist who started working
Okay.
here. Yeah.
When did you start your own nursing home?
I worked with this fellow for about 10 years almost. And after that, in June 2001, I started my own hospital in the rented premises. Then in 4 or 5 years, I constructed my own hospital. And then I shifted to my own hospital, which is named Bhatia Hospital at present. And I'm working here.
So you have your own setup
Yeah.
since almost last 15 years, right?
Yeah. This,
If I may ask, what was the cost of the project at that time?
in the rented premises, I had invested about 25 lakh rupees in my equipment, all that in back in 2000. And then in about 2005, the construction cost plus other equipment, and I upgraded my sonography, everything. That went up to around 75 lakh rupees at that time.
70,
Because,
75 lakhs back
yeah,
then. How many bedded nursing home
my
is it?
hospital is 10 bedded hospital. 10 bedded facility.
Okay.
There are 5 general ward room beds and 5 special room beds. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
And if you had to start the same project now in 2020, how much will it cost
It
approximately?
would cost around 3 to 4 crores or
Okay,
even
so
more.
almost 15 to 20 times of the
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
uh,
Very much.
which you invested back then. And do you think your charges have increased accordingly?
Not really. I mean, charges have not increased. Back then, I used to charge hardly 1,000, 2,000 rupees for a delivery, and now also I charge around 5 to 8,000 rupees for delivery. So, not really.
So 8 times
Yeah,
increase, and
yeah,
this cost really increased almost
yeah.
15 to 20, right? What were the challenges which you faced when you started practicing there
I
as an obstetrician?
came to Chopra, nobody recognized me as a gynecologist because I had to
Uh-huh.
compete with local people who used to do deliveries and all that. I had no
Okay.
anesthetist, no blood bank, no laboratory. So I used
Uh-huh.
to do all those work on my own with my own hands. Then I taught some people My wife joined me in the practice ultimately. I taught her so many things. She helped me. So that's how it went on slowly, slowly. Some people learned, some assistants learned. Even anesthetist was not there. I was joined by an anesthetist in 1995 after 5 or 6 years of my practice over here.
Is your wife a medico?
She's not a medico, but she used to help me in every place where I needed her, from being a nurse or a sister, Aya, to management, to being assistant to me, and holding my laparoscopy camera as well.
Oh,
Mhm.
uh-huh. Real challenges.
Yeah,
Did you have enough power supply, electricity
yeah.
back then?
Electricity was not a big problem, but
Uh,
generators and all. But there were not many equipment which used to run on electricity then.
uh-huh.
Laparoscopy can run on inverter, sonography can run on an inverter, generator. We had those things. I mean, we could.
Oh.
We were resourceful in creating our own generator, diesel generators, and
Uh,
we used to work. Yeah.
uh, at Chopra, you get many patients from the periphery, and you must have treated many emergency patients. Tell us about one incident where you really brought the patient up from dead.
There are many, but one in particular I remember because I am still in touch with that patient.
Uh-huh.
She was from a small town called Kathora nearby. It's a village, and from there she was a primey who had convulsions at home, 10 to 15 convulsions at home, and she was unconscious when brought to me. And then I took over. I treated her eclampsia, delivered her normally. Luckily, she delivered. She had a boy. For 4 5 days, she was semi-conscious, unconscious, like that. Had hematuria, all the complications, and then she came out of it slowly, slowly, and that was really rewarding. That gave me the name, fame, everything in the first few weeks of my practice. So
Oh, really?
I'm still in
Uh,
touch with that boy and that patient.
uh, Nowadays, we hear so many cases of mob violence against the doctors. Now, have you ever faced uh, anything like this or witnessed anything like this in your private practice?
So initially, I had a formidable kind of a position, when patients didn't have access to the good medical care anywhere. Going to a district place was also very difficult. In the sense, people used to say, while going on the way, we will lose this patient. So do whatever you
Yes.
like. And that's the way I used to operate and work and do things for people. But slowly, slowly things changed. Then people got access to the district place, had improved medical facilities. We have intensive care units there. Now intensive care units have come to Chopra as well. So people are having access to all these places. So what is happening is more complicated cases can go to those places, and people are managing. In our town, small altercation did happen, but not really assault or some big problems or some destruction of property or something like that, because most of the people know each other, and we
Okay.
doctors also know each other. We help each other in emergency. For me also, somebody stands up, I also go somewhere else, and we are always in a group, in a cohesive group. So we have kept those things at a little distance.
Okay. Doctors' unity is
Yeah,
really important.
doctors are really good with each other and
Uh-huh.
help each other. That is really going on now.
Is there a lot of political interference there?
Not really. What happens is politicians didn't have the kind of medical treatment that we used to give here. There are other
Okay.
consultants also, not only me, but then they kept good relations with us. They were helped by us, and political interference is not much. In fact, we have very decent and good politicians in our town.
You are really fortunate.
Yeah, really.
So, you have been practicing for last 28 to 30 years now.
Almost, yeah.
Uh, how has the scenario changed from 1990 to 2020 as far as the patients are concerned? their mentality, has it changed?
Patient's mentality has changed a little. Previously, they used to blindly trust us, or they used to depend on us. Now, what is happening is they are having access to some other care, and where they feel like if you are not doing, and they know few more things because of this internet, social media, and all that. Then they will
Oh,
ask you whether your anesthetist is MD or not. Now they knowing. I mean, people who come from
awareness.
outside also, the awareness has increased, but sometimes this is funny. I used to give anesthesia and operate. So those things go on still. But what is happening is people's expectation from the doctors have increased, which may cause little problems. And sometimes when we see that element of distrust in the patient, we are not willing to work with those patients now. This is what is happening.
Right.
Because we are scared.
Right.
Ultimately, we don't want any litigation. We don't want any, and the cost will increase. If I say I need a CCTV, I need a medical legal expert, I need this, I need that, everything translates into patient's costs. There is nothing else that we can do free of cost. Everything for us is being charged. So what happens is we convert it into patients' bill. Where would the money come from?
Right. So, Consumer Protection Act has had its repercussions.
Yeah, it really
So,
hard.
do you think that has escalated the cost of the patient care?
Yes, yes. And in fact, what happens is now if you say clinically there is appendicitis or something like that, people will ask, you didn't do sonography, then you didn't do this
Right.
investigation. Oh, how are you saying? Look, go and get it done.
Right.
So
Right.
naturally, you will have to spend that way. Some people ask, I have headache for 15 days. You are not doing our CT scan. No,
So, you get it done.
you get it done. How do I
Right.
refuse? If I say no and something happens, they will catch hold of me.
Dr. Rajendra, nowadays patients seek many opinions. Like to me also, many times patients come for third opinion, fourth opinion. Has it ever happened with you that patient came to you, then went to the city doctor, and came back to you, and then got treated herself at your place?
Yeah,
And how
many
do
a
you
times.
feel if this
Many a
happens?
time it's happened, been vindicated many times in past. I particularly remember one patient who had some lesion on her cervix and she consulted me for her irregular bleeding and all that. She had a suspicious lesion on the cervix. So I said, I'll do the biopsy and then do hysterectomy or whatever that is needed. But I have to diagnose what is happening. And she was a wife of a prominent teacher over here. So they said, Dr. Bhatia wants to operate twice on a patient. What we'll do is we'll go to somewhere else and get operated. They went to some surgeon and got hysterectomy done. And ultimately her condition worsened in a month. Went to Mumbai and all. Then she had cervical cancer, which was not diagnosed. And then I used to give everything in the writing. So people there told her, okay, this fellow told you get biopsy done, why didn't you do it? And that was a discussion when unfortunately she died after 3 months, and that was during her funeral. People were discussing, yeah, you should have listened to Dr. Bhatia. And then that story came. He came and told, he was honest to come and tell me that this thing happened and we should have listened to you. So
You
this
really
is the
feel
way.
bad.
Yeah, I really feel bad, and then many a times it gets reflected on us.
Right. During your tenure at Chopra, did you have to do many compromises, adjustments as far as your family is concerned? Any sacrifices you had to make?
In fact, my family didn't expect me to attend so many things or pay attention to them, and other family, as a person, they missed me. But my wife joined me in my work, and she did work with me. So, uh, in fact, she molded and adjusted to everything, and she supported all my working and shortcomings and everything. So we are not unhappy over all this. But for children, I missed my education. I mean, education that they had to get and all. So I put them in a boarding school.
Okay.
And both of them did well. Mhm.
Okay. None of them pursued medicine.
They
Uh-huh.
saw our active lifestyle and they didn't want to be a doctor particularly.
Do you have any regrets when you look back?
No, not at all. No, no regrets. No regrets of being a doctor in Chopra.
Uh-huh. I understand that you have an alternative career uh, as
Yes,
a financial advisor.
yes, yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
Please tell us about that.
In fact, I used to work very hard for 15, 20 years continuously. I worked. There was not a time when I didn't operate in between 2:30, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for continuously about 12, 13, 14 years. And then after so many years, I realized that what I am doing is taking a toll on my physique personally. So what I wanted was I wanted young people to realize that you have a finite life and one day you will be tired of doing all this continuously. So what I wanted was to learn financial management,
Mhm.
create alternative sources of income, manage your money, create such a wealth that you can live with it and be financially free and independent. So then I made it my mission to make young doctors independent financially, to financially literate.
So, what is your parting message to your patients?
To patients and society in general, I want to tell, please take care of your doctors. We have lost many doctors recently, and losing a doctor is a big strain on society and its resources. Uh, It takes almost 30 years to create a good doctor. And if a good doctor is lost, a society's loss is tremendous in the sense that no doctor wishes that his patient should go bad. Nobody does anything for only money. There may be 1 or 2% some bad incidences, but they are portrayed in a very large distinct movies and all. You see somebody putting on ventilator. It is not possible. If a patient is lost, nobody can put it on the ventilator. How can you put it on the ventilator? You put him on a ventilator for a long. Unnecessary. All other things will happen. Na? All decay will start. This thing decomposition will start. Everything, and it cannot happen. Some incidences somewhere might have happened. People may not have understood, and people don't understand few things, and then they blame doctors. So,
Very well said.
yeah.
What is your message to your younger colleagues?
Younger colleagues are smarter than what our generation was. So, message to them is work hard, be honest, work smart, and be financially free and independent because you have got a finite life. And whenever you earn, doctors are cash cows and they invest their money at such places where they lose money ultimately and they don't get that kind of return. So be wiser and wisdom will prevail. So,
Suppose, Dr. Rajendra, we take you back to 1980
yeah,
and you have to make a career choice again. What would it be and why?
not in this life, but every life I would be a doctor and a gynecologist at that. Because
So you are proud
the
to be a
suffering
doctor.
that I could alleviate, and I'm thankful to the patients who put their lives in my hand, thousands of patients, their generations, and the colleagues who trust me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajendra.
Thank
We
you.
really enjoyed talking to you. Doctor's Diary wishes you all the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Same to you.
much for being with us
Yes.
and wish you all the best. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, viewers, for joining us. Take care, all of
Yes.
you. Bye bye.